Okay, so before I jump into this review, I just want to say I just noticed an article on Deadline when they were doing their Deadline Contenders TCA, and like the headline was Jason Blum is A, remaking The Exorcist, and B, wants to be nominated for an Academy Award. And I was like, no. Like both of those things, I was like, no, fuck you. I think this film highlights a lot of why Jason Blum will not be seeing the second thing happening, because he cannot tell the difference between what is good and what is bad. Anyway, I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and this is my review of They Slash Them. I'm a blind film critic, so welcome. This is a slasher movie, so I guess I missed out on all those great kill scenes. Oh, this is going to be legendary. I mean, people will be talking about the kills in this movie for 3 seconds. 3 seconds from now. And then they're going to forget about it. I was totally on board for this film. Like, I read the plot of the film. I was like, oh, we got Kevin Bacon. I was like, we got Carrie Preston. We got Anna Chomsky. We got people. Oh, that kid's been in The Politician. I was I'm like, okay. And I thought the twist was cool. It was like, it's very, like, we're sending Kevin Bacon back to a camp, but it's not like a normal camp. It's a conversion camp. And I was like, oh, this has so much potential. And all of it was squandered. I did not know. I went on to IMDb and I'm looking at the cast and I'm like getting ready to watch this. And I see IMDb user score 3.0. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm like, okay, it's just IMDb's just being homophobic and anti-woke. That must be what this is that they're looking at this film and they're like, they, them, sounds like one of those movies. We're gonna have to just downvote it, even though I haven't seen it. It must suck, because it's obviously gonna be woke. You know what? It actually does suck. And it hurts to say that, because I was really excited about the representation. Theo Alexander was actually good as Jordan. I'd say the cast was all right. But this film's director needs to go the fuck away. And the writer director, like, no one needs you again. If you need to go go spend 5 years in like a temple somewhere meditating on what it is that you actually want to do with a film, and then come back and try again. Because that's where the problem lies with this film, is I feel like you either want to make a film that like is trying to portray the horrors of gay conversion therapy camps, or you're trying to make a slasher film. But when you combine the two and you promise it as being this is not that. This film quite frequently never feels like a slasher film. It has a rather low body count for a slasher film. It's not scary. It's, from the description of the kills, barely gory. It's, I don't know. It feels like the slasher thing was an afterthought. Like, I feel like the writer originally made a film about gay conversion therapy camps being, scary, and pitched that to Jason Blum, and he was like, cool. So, what if we put a serial killer in the middle of this film? That's not really what I was going for, but, I mean, if it gets the film greenlit, then I guess it's more about getting the important message out about conversion therapy camps. But sure, if that's what you want to do. Yes, that's exactly. I'm also going to do that in The Exorcist. I'm waiting for people to know, but they're not going to know yet. But there's going to be a serial killer, a masked slasher movie. That's what I'm turning The Exorcist into. I'm just going to do that to every film now. Yeah, this film is garbage. I didn't even like the ending. I kind of want to talk about it and spoil it, so I may do that at the end of this video. But the killer reveal is dumb. The killer reveal is dumb because there's a character that works a lot better as the killer, in my opinion. And then we got the killer we got, and I was like, okay, cool. Good idea, film. And this is a film that I've heard multiple people say. They were like, I knew who the killer was from the beginning. Like, from the first second of the film. You know, like, immediately, I clicked play, and I knew who the killer was. And it's like, all right. I mean, it didn't seem that obvious to me. But I will talk about that. So after my grade, so when you hear the grade drop, know that I'm going to talk about some spoilers about why the killer doesn't work and who I think should have been the killer. I don't really have much else to talk about. The performances. There's some thoughts here as far as conversion therapy. Boy Erased is just a better film. So even if they were trying to go for that, this dude seems pretty chill most of the time. Kevin Bacon, I mean, he's got like a couple scenes where you're like, I wouldn't do that. And he has like a history where you're like, that's concerning. But, Boy Erased was more effective at actually, shaking you to the core about that kind of stuff than this, which kind of puts people in situations and then they come out of it and then the friends just go back to their bunks and they laugh it off and sing a Pink song. So, which happens. Yeah. But you're perfect. Fucking perfect. Yeah, that was pretty please. Could have some. Yes, it went on forever. Yeah, okay, so you watch, don't watch, do what you want. I would say I would pass on this. The audio description is fine. It's not the audio description's fault that there's nothing to describe. The audio description tries really hard. There's a handful of characters that does a pretty good job of monitoring. But the film itself is poorly written and therefore leaves a whole bunch of characters sort of in positions that you're like, okay, well, I know nothing about them. I think it said there were like 14 campers at the beginning and 4 counselors or something in that opening scene. I definitely feel like 14 campers do not get screen time. Like, just that is not an even amount of screen time. Jordan gets so much screen time compared to everybody else. It's definitely not balanced at all. So, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna give they/them a D. And I'm going to tell you why about the killer in a second, so you have time to peace out and subscribe on your way out. All right, so that was your warning. So the killer is Molly, Anna Chlumsky's character, which she's a counselor. So it's not any of the kids. And it's also not just some like weirdo who's like stalking the camp. But Molly is not actually the counselor. In the opening scene, we see this woman driving her car in the middle of the night. She gets like a flat tire and then her car dies. She like wanders out in the woods and she can't like see anything. And then this killer with an axe comes along and kills her. And then I guess this girl her name is not really Molly. It's, I don't know, something else. Pretends to be Molly and shows up at camp. But I have a problem with that. First of all, did Kevin Bacon's character really hire somebody in the first place who he had never seen before as Molly? If this is her first time in the camp, even if the girl was new, the one that was driving there, which is, I feel like what they did on American Horror Story, they did the same thing this last season. Did he not like do a video phone call, like a FaceTime? Secondly, I believe part of this is it's a revenge plot. So she's doing this because she was here earlier, so he doesn't recognize Anna Chlumsky. But he terrorized her. It just doesn't, like, the whole thing didn't make sense for me. And she's kind of super chill, and she's a background character, and it doesn't really focus a lot on her. Plus, she's Anna Chlumsky, who's about as threatening as whatever. But anyway, my pick would have been Alexandra. That's the trans girl. And the reason for that is that, and hear me out, it's really good. So she has to reveal the fact that she's over 18 in order to get her pills back. She tells a story about her brother, and I was like, okay, so that could be a half-truth. And there could be more to that story about the reason to why she's the killer. Also, the first like real victim in this film is not the opening sequence villain, but is the creepy groundskeeper dude who has cameras in the women's restroom. Well, it's possible that Alexandra knew that's why she got kicked out of the showers, is because of this dude. She might have figured that out. There were cameras, and maybe that dude was like, oh, wait a minute, one of these things is not like the others. My happy porn time is not so happy anymore. And suddenly got the trans girl transferred to the boys' dorm. And so that could have also been a reason why she made sure that he was the first kill and knew about it. Anyway, so I thought that would be more interesting. Plus, Jordan has so much screen time. And the person that they give the second most screen time is Alexandra, who's like sleeping in the bed next to Jordan, who has this developing friendship with Jordan. And I really thought what they were going to do was that they were going to pit Jordan against Alexandra at the end, because they weren't really focusing on any other characters. The other two girls, kind of a little bit, Veronica and Kim, got a little bit of screen time. And the music theater boy, whose name escapes me, got a little bit of time. But there were a whole bunch of characters in this that really they have like 5 lines the whole movie. Whereas there's a bunch that have lines, and then Jordan and Alexandra have like a ton of lines. So I was like, okay, so these are the main two. They're not dating. So how does this play out? And I figured it was Alexandra. So Molly just didn't seem like an interesting villain to me. Molly didn't even seem like an interesting character. Molly didn't really seem like anything. So when it was Molly, I was like, what? Okay, I guess. And then Molly was like, we could do this to every conversion camp. And I was like, oh my God. All right. But that's what the film chose, and I can't change that. But I think there was a more interesting film there, and they didn't go for it because Alexandra would have been able to check herself in instead of, she wouldn't be there because of her parents. She could have lied about her backstory, admitting that she's the adult and everybody else is a minor, that whole thing. So anyway, that's my thought on the killer situation. Was not good with the reveal, and I actually didn't see it coming because I thought there was another character that was more interesting. And then they didn't go with it. So I was like, okay, go with somebody else who I guess everybody else thought was the killer, but is way less interesting. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. MacTheMovieGuy.com is my website. The audio description project is going to let you know what has audio description and where it's at. And the Adna.org will let you know who's narrating what, although Peacock forces you out of credits. So I did not get to stay till the end of the credits. So anyway, I don't know who did it. That's it for me today, and I gotta go review more movies that don't suck. I really wanted this to be good, and it's definitely not fucking perfect.